Suffolk and Norfolk. Police investigating the murder of a man from Fakenham in Norfolk are looking into more than 1,000 leads. The body of 45-year-old Stephen Murphy was found at his home in Kings Road almost 4 weeks ago. He'd been stabbed in the chest. No arrests have been made, nor has the murder weapon been found. That's despite his family putting up a £10,000 reward for information leading to the conviction of those responsible.
A Suffolk farmer and BNP activist is to appear in court next month accused of weapons and explosives offences. 49-year-old David Lucas from Lakenheath has been charged with the possession of explosives under suspicious circumstances and without a licence. He's also charged with the possession of a prohibited weapon with intent to endanger life. Mr Lucas stood as a BNP candidate at the last European elections.
A dispersal order has been brought in by police in Ipswich to tackle rising levels of antisocial behaviour in part of the town. It applies to the White House area and means that police can now disperse groups of 2 or more people thought to be causing trouble. Failing to comply can result in 6 months in prison or a fine of up to £5,000.
Now, lords, soldiers and footballers were among the guests at the Oyster Feast in Colchester today.
It's been held every year to mark the town's historic links with the oyster fishing industry, which actually dates back to Roman times. Lorna Ramsey reports.
If your name's not down, you're not coming in. At Colchester Town Hall today, entry was strictly by ticket or invitation only. And that's because it's the annual Oyster Feast. Behind the scenes, chefs spent hours preparing food for more than 250 guests.
It's what the things we're famous for, other than roses, and it may not be our top industry, but it is the very visible face of Colchester, has been for 2,000 years.
3 words people here would rather forget is the fat duck. In February, the Berkshire restaurant, owned by Heston Blumenthal, was closed for 3 weeks when 500 diners fell ill after eating oysters from Essex.
This is a hazard with oysters, but there shouldn't be any major problem. I shall be eating the first oyster, and hopefully I'll survive and encourage other people to take oysters.
And there didn't seem to be any concern among this crowd.
These are Pyfleet oysters, and it's what the mayor and others are eating upstairs. But what do the people of Colchester think of them?
Good?
Oh, no.
Lovely. Yeah.
I got a shell.
But it seems there are other uses for the oyster, or at least its shell.
I'll take one for an ashtray.
I'm not sure what the people in the town hall would think of that idea. Lorna Ramsey, Anglia News, Colchester.
Well, well done to those people who actually tried it. I have to say, I'm afraid I still haven't tried one, which is terrible. You?
Yes, I have, and they've made me feel a little bit ill, I'm afraid. Though they seem to be enjoying them didn't they? Now, moving on to some football, there's no end to the problems suffered by Southend United at the moment. Manager Steve Tilson turned out for the reserves in midweek because his squad is so depleted by injuries.
But the club has more to worry about ahead of tonight's league game against Gillingham, as Donovan Blake now reports.
How football fortunes change. Less than a year ago, Southend were making headlines after holding mighty Chelsea at their own ground in the FA Cup. Now, as they prepare to face Gillingham tonight, Southend could go into administration. With the club yet to comment on reports, they owe a much bigger tax bill than first thought, more than £2 million. Quite a contrast at Southend's Essex rivals Colchester. They're still unbeaten under Adi Boothroyd, and victory at Millwall could lift them into the League One automatic promotion spots. Norwich are also on the road at Stockport, where left-back Adam Drury should make a landmark 300th appearance for the club. Injuries mean manager Paul Lambert has a problem at right-back, but he's confident whoever plays in that position will rise to the challenge.
Yeah, it's not great, that side of the game, but whoever plays there will do their best to try and keep the momentum going, and I've got great belief whoever does go in there will do well.
The challenge facing Roy Keane and Ipswich at the bottom of the Championship has been mounting all season. There was talk of former Wycombe boss Peter Taylor joining the coaching staff at Portman Road, but that hasn't materialised. Now another chance to secure that long overdue First League win against Derby.
I thought Peter might have improved the club, but after conversations over 1 or 2 days, we both decided sometimes it's a gut feeling amongst the two of us, and we felt, you know, it wasn't going to happen.
And Peterborough's survival chances in the Championship haven't been written off yet. A bit of light relief for some of the players ahead of their latest league date with Barnsley, with the launch of their club calendar for 2010. Donovan Blake, Anglia News.
Some of Norfolk's street lights could be switched off for part of the night as the council attempts to save money and cut its carbon footprint. It's considering plans to turn off lights on quiet residential streets in low-crime areas between midnight and 5 in the morning. The council is also looking at dimming lights on some main roads. It's hoped that these measures could save £200,000 a year.
Now, earlier on in the programme, we saw Emma with some fantastic children in their Halloween
Brilliant
outfits,
costumes.
wasn't it? Yeah. Well, let's stay with that theme. One thing this time of year also means is, of course, pumpkins. Now, apparently there's been a bumper crop this season, and that's great news for one man from Essex.
Yes, David Finkle. For David Finkle, they bring out his creative side, but no, we're not talking about pumpkin pie or even those traditional lanterns that most of us make, as Tom Barton has been finding out.
Pumpkins are a major feature in David Finkle's yard in Danbury near Chelmsford. There are dozens of them, but he hates the taste of pumpkin pie. In fact, the orange fruit is his canvas, because David is an artist, the likes of which you've never seen before.
I sort of hit upon that if you were to just peel off the skin, perhaps it would deliver a different amount of light, a different amount of contrast. And it was from there that I actually started to develop some different drawings. I actually started to come up with some very unusual, intricate designs. And since then, this has gradually developed, and I've worked the technique into being able to produce very intricate drawings, such as celebrities, things like that.
Each sculpture begins with a drawing of the subject.
I actually prick every line off this picture through to the skin. That's how I just make all the proportions and the lines exact. I basically follow every individual line just to pierce through the actual skin of the pumpkin. So it just leaves us the template image on the face of the pumpkin, which will then make it much easier and precise to follow afterwards and actually remove the skin.
After tracing the image onto the skin of the pumpkin, David gets to work. And slowly a remarkable depiction of Simon Cowell emerges. In the last couple of weeks, his work has been seen around the world in newspapers and magazines. What does he make of his newfound fame?
I'd be a liar to deny I'm enjoying the attention. I mean, it's nice, it really is nice. It's more for recognition. I really appreciate somebody looking at my work and saying, that's really nice, I enjoy that. And for me, that's all I need in return. It's fantastic.
The other thing these amazing jack-o'-lanterns need is, of course, light. Add a candle and David's hard work just comes to life. This is one artist that even Simon Cowell himself must admit has the X factor. Tom Barton, Anglia News, at Danbury near Chelmsford.
Incredible stuff. Well, David actually kindly did a bit more pumpkin art for us for a little bit of a Halloween quiz for you. No prizes, I'm afraid, but can you guess who this little lot are?
Yep, fingers on the buzzers. Let's start with someone who's more used to pumping rather than pumpkin out the tunes. Take a look at that one. It is Amy Winehouse.
Yep, next up, you're probably more likely to see him playing in red than orange. Yes, it's Manchester United and England striker Wayne Rooney.
Slightly frightening side, isn't it? Right, fans of X Factor will know this one. Flying high in the charts at the moment. That one.
Yes, that's the one.
It wasn't in my head.
Yeah.
Cheryl Cole. That one. There you go.
And next up, if you need any help, he was famous for his song Thriller. Don't we know? Famous for his song Thriller. Yes, Michael Jackson there.
And the last one, we thought that David Finkle might need an extra large pumpkin for this one, or at least two of them. It is, there you are, as a clue, I suppose, number 5. In at number 5, it's Jordan. There you go, mate. Yeah, they're fantastic, aren't they?